Ayun. Hi everyone. Good afternoon. Uh dyan sa Philippines and good morning dito sa US and good day to everyone who's watching the PT Meal podcast live. Yay. So PT Meal is a complete serving or buffet of play therapies, movement, exercise, activities, and leisure, all packed in a hearty conversation of physical therapy profession and practice. For those who don't know me yet, I am Johan De La Paz, your host, and um, welcome back to the show. And thank you for joining me here. So this is my live podcast for this month of June. And sabi ko nga dun sa um, caption or dun sa ano ba, post ko, we are going to talk about the past episodes, the recent episodes, and yun, uh, recent episodes and the upcoming episodes that we are going to have for this podcast. Um, yeah. So hello those sa mga nanonood and yeah, if you have anything that you want to say, just let me know. Comment and what whatnots. Okay, so before we go on to the kind of topic of the today's uh, podcast, let me show you what we're going to talk about. All right. So as I've mentioned, let's talk about the past episodes, the recent episodes that we have already done, and some of the next episodes that we are going to have, so to speak, yung maaabangan ninyo for this month of June. Huh? Okay? So mabagal lang siguro yung pag-reflect ng tawag dito, pag-project ng aking screen. There. So this is a collaboration between Kilos PT Podcast and PTVO Podcast. It was Kilos at Kain, collaboration of our two podcasts, and we started. It was with Ben and Maria Conci Aguila. So we talked about two studies. The main topic was that if you are going to uh, what do you call this? If you believe, for if a patient believes that he's gonna get well, he's gonna get well. So yun lang yung premise nun. It's still available. The conversation is still available in Kilos PT Facebook page. So bisitahin nyo lang yon, nandun yon. And very interesting kasi what yun nga, if your patient believes that he's gonna get better, then he's probably gonna get better. Pero pag if he doesn't believe, the patient doesn't believe that they're gonna get better, eh, wala rin. Okay? And also, the belief of the physical therapist also matters. Like, if yung therapist thinks that there's potential for the patient to recover better, then mai-influence yung pag-challenge niya dun sa pasyente. So it's a good discussion. So and also we posted there in the comments kung ano yung mga dalawang article that we were talking about. Okay, the next one was yun matagal lang yung pag-reflect. Pero the next one was my interview with two physical therapy students, incoming interns, and we talked about that how their lives are in physical therapy. It ito sina Mikey and Neil Aningalan. So we talked about their journey as physical therapy students, and ano yung mga nagbago sa kanilang um, sa kanilang practice, parang ganon, or expectation sa pagiging isang physical therapist. Okay, so those were the two recent episodes that we released in the podcast. So the next one, the upcoming podcast is uh, life of an international PhD student. Surprise pa kung sino para pasabog. Pero yeah, it's gonna come out this coming weekend. And stay tuned to that. So yeah. So the next one is uh it's gonna be another live, pero I'm in celebration or commemoration of the Pride Month. So we're gonna have a panel discussion or like a small round table discussion about the LGBTQIA plus concerns and issues in physical therapy practice. So yeah, so we have panels, physical therapists representing the LGBTQIA plus community, and they're gonna give us some insights to their experiences. Okay, so the next one is uh, after that the Therapeutic Alliance is more than a rapport. So it's a podcast, and we just look for um, it to be released. No, um, hintay na lang. So di ba, we were in school, we were taught na di ba, parang uh, we have to form rapport, etc., etc. So let's learn more about what therapeutic alliance is and what it does. Okay, all right, and okay, so that's it. The two recent episodes and the two coming episodes for this month. Ito itong live is supposed to be for this weekend. So yeah, para meron ako every week na pinopost. All right, let's go now to the bulk of what I wanted to talk about. Since June is um, PTSD Awareness Month or Trauma Awareness Month, we're gonna talk about. I wanted to share something that was circulated in our hospital. So it's from the Trauma Informed California um, like committee, I guess, of our hospital. So I'd like to share this. So the topic of the presentation, which was also posted around the hospital, is trauma informed care through strengthening mental health awareness. So napaka-importante ngayon yan kasi everybody experience some form of trauma and issues about their mental health, and mental health is a big thing nowadays. Everybody's recognizing their struggles, verbalizing it or identifying it. So um, let's probably see how this would pan out. So first is like, what is trauma? Mali pa yung nilagyan ko ng mali pa yung nilagyan ko ng notes. Yung notes ko nilagay ko doon sa first. Okay. Copy and paste natin. Yan. Alright. So what is trauma? So namagin ko na to before. Trauma is composed of the three E's of trauma. So event, experience, and effects. Effects. No? Um, so yun. Trauma is eh, the first is the event. Kailangan may event. Event is the circumstance surrounding the trauma, like physical or emotional or psychological threats that especially threats to our survival. So pwedeng natural disasters, can be witnessing or experiencing an act of violence or abuse. It can be an accident, neglect, or a result of chronic stress. Right? So that's the event. So when we talk about experience, experience is the person's emotional response to the event. So pwedeng, excuse me. So ito yung how they perceive the event. So and what meaning they can give to that event. So for example, may kasama ako na mga kasama ko kaibigan ko and we experienced the same event. We are in the same accident. Sabihin natin ganon. But we experienced it differently. Pwedeng ako, for me, I was thankful I survived. And for that other friend, baka naman naisip niya, oh, I almost died. Or ang malas ko naman, parang ganon. So it it again, so the experience depends on how the person gives meaning to that event. Okay, so it's a personal, subjective take on um, what happened. Parang ganon. So, so lastly is the effects. So the effects of trauma can last long, and it can occur later as the person begins to process the experience. Kasi pwedeng at the beginning may shock pa, di ba? Na-experiencing the event, na-experience niyo yung nangyari, yung trauma, then hindi pa niya mapagtanto kung ano talaga yung nangyari. Pero, so, maybe later on, ma-feel niya na, ito pala yung nangyari sa akin, ganyan, ganyan. Tapos, nafe-feel na niya yung effects. So, some of the effects that the person may feel is the inability to cope with daily tasks. Pwede meron na siyang distrust or mistrust in relationships. Pero pwede rin magkaroon siya ng attention problems or some sleep disturbances. Okay? So those are the elements of trauma. Event, experience. So it's an event that the person experiences which he gives or her or which she or he gives meaning to, and the effects may be long lasting and can happen later. Okay. So the next one is trauma informed care. So when we say what do we mean about trauma informed care? So basically, you're acknowledging that uh, each person that you encounter may have a traumatic experience, you know, um, in their past. So you are ensuring these are the six elements of trauma informed care. So you are ensuring the patient's safety, right? You make sure that the the person feels safe with you and in the environment. So you have to build trust as well. Uh, make sure that you're trustworthy uh, with the patient. Be sincere. So next one is support. So you have to be supportive with the patient's concerns, some of their complaints or their feelings. So you acknowledge it, and also make sure that you you are supportive and also be supported. No? So next is collaboration or working together. You try to work together. It's not just you or the patient or just the patient. So you work with the patient. It's you parang binibigyan mo siya ng power as well. It goes hand in hand with the next one. It's empowerment. Binibigyan mo siya ng power over his treatment, his care, his feelings. So yeah. And lastly, is respecting individuality, which means you acknowledge that each person uh, comes from different cultural background, historic background, different gender, creed, race, cultural differences. So you acknowledge that and respect that. So hindi ka lang aware. You also respect the person's individuality. So that's what trauma informed care is. So medyo big siya sa amin kasi we're a mental health facility. So these are the elements that we should strive to um, use in our daily practice. Which is maganda naman eh. Parang in any practice, it does make sense, di ba? Na you do all of this. No, I guess we just have to be more cognizant, be more aware and conscious that truly, people may have um, some adverse experiences that we don't know about, di ba? So this is just safe interaction and safe um, care for the patient. Because in the outpatient, we encounter a lot of chronic patients with chronic pain, and sometimes, di ba, chronic pain is um, associated with anxiety, depression, some distress. So this is something that would ease the patient's minds and let him or her open up to you more about their concerns and start accepting their health, empowering them to do more and be mas matanggap niya kung ano yung mga education na gagawin mo. Kasi you're showing trustworthiness. Diba? Pag people um, who experience trauma, minsan wala silang tiwala eh. So, yun. So, the next one is, what is mental health awareness? Yun yung common sa atin yan eh. We have to be more aware about our mental health. So, what is it? So, it's taking care of both physical and mental health. Our mental health. So not just exercising our bodies and stuff. We also be aware of what our mental status is. Are we down, depressed? Do we lack motivation? Stuff like that. Or are we always thinking about the negative stuff? Are we always anxious? Or are we suppressing things? Mga ganon. So next is creating positive and productive ways of thinking. Sometimes kasi if um we get sucked into the whole of thinking about a bad thing, then snowballing na you're thinking about something worse and worse and worse until hindi ka na makatulog. So next is maintaining healthy relationships. Next is creating a safe and effective coping skills. So, minsan yung coping skills natin medyo destructive din. So, being aware of our mental health would also help us be safe and effective with our coping skills. Lastly, recognizing when we need to ask for help. So, yeah. So, hindi lang, we're not alone in this battle. Yun lang gusto nyo iparating if we're really aware of our mental health. Okay, so there are a lot of um, steps or approaches that the handout um, provided us. Mainly focus on the elements uh, of trauma informed care. So, like as I've said, make sure that the patient feels safe. That's the number one priority. You know, um, respect their boundaries. You ask permission if they feel, if it's okay for us to touch them. Approach them in front sa harap. Hindi ka, don't make sudden movement. So everything is calculated. Um, everything that you do, the patient would be aware of that. All right. So as I've said, establish trust. So it happens when there is predictability. So hindi mo siya gugulatin. Lahat ng gagawin mo, papaalam mo sa pasyente, and that's how you build trust. Everything you have to explain, make sure that there is a clear expectation of what you can do for the patient and what the patient can do to you. Okay? So um, hindi lang siya parang you're trying to appease a patient, but be real with the patient, and that's how you build and establish trust. Okay. Another way would be to listen. Diba? You be supportive. You listen, you acknowledge, you don't um, negate kung ano yung mga sinasabi niya. Don't pressure the patient to tell something na hindi naman siya ready to tell. Diba? Pwedeng he's still coping. So, just listen. If you can see an opening to the story, then try to inch your way in. Pero hindi mo siya pipiliting magsalita. Okay. So, ang nagustuhan ko about this, um, about this handout was be positive. Diba? We hear about, toxic positivity na you're kind of suppressing uh, the negatives, and you're always saying oh, think positive, pero you neglect na the realities of what's happening. Pero when you say be positive in the sense of, strengthening your mental health awareness, being positive does not mean denying that at times things can be really difficult. So they can be. So you acknowledge the reality that there are times na mahirap talaga ang buhay. Pero the thing is, um, you validate the struggles, yung kalungkutan, yung anxiety, and then provide a positive and optimistic way to approach it and help with, persevering that we can do better. So identify that the realities are there, that times can be difficult, pero that we can make it better. So yeah. So ang yung pinaka gusto ko dito is the positive psychology. Um, there are a lot of treatment for strengthening mental health. You have your ACTs, the CBT, and DBT. Pero ito yung parang nagustuhan ko eh. So, positive psychology um, teaches how we can honor our past while moving forward to achieve our goals. Yung parang sinabi kanina, di ba? That you don't, yung hindi mo binabaon yung nakaraan mo. You honor what happened. It happened eh. So, take it as something that you learn from, and then you move forward to achieve your goals. You don't dwell on your past. You honor them and thank them for what happened, and then move forward. So, there are certain, aspects na parang mahirap gawin yun, pero I'm just on the surface. Sobrang daming malalim na reasons na parang ang sama ng sinabi ko, na parang ang insensitive, pero I guess that's something that a professional can explain more, you know. So, yung positive psychology has like these elements, PERMA, which are positive emotions, engagement, positive relationships, meaning, and accomplishments. So, ano nga parang ano ba yung mga positive emotions? Like, positive emotion is you're understanding what you're feeling, understanding your brain, choosing emotions that you can focus on and really like zoom in. So you regulate what you feel. So engagement is, finding your flow, ano yung what works for you. So you leverage your strength, ano yung mga lakas mo, ano yung mga kaya mong gawin, saan ka magaling. Then you ano ba, you take advantage of that. So that is your peak performance. So when you're next is a relationship, so you build community. So you tawag dito, focus on connection, being compassionate, being caring, and of course love. Those are the things that you focus with relationships. Then the M is meaning, making meaning on about everything. So it may come from spirituality, from realizing your purpose, realizing your passion. So making meaning of everything, trying to find the reason or trying to find your why. So that's meaning. And lastly, accomplishment. So this is what you have achieved, the goals that you want to strive for. So this would exude like hope, perseverance, grit, yung kagustuhan mo marating yan. And of course, your intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic meaning coming from yourself. The greatest motivation nga daw is not from external, it's not coming from the outside or externally, but it's coming from the inside, from you. So yun yung pinaka driving force on on to change people's perspective, change their behaviors and mind. It's your internal um, motivation or challenge to yourself. So yeah, um, so I hope that kind of added some perspective to our experiences and knowledge about mental health. Trauma informed care, um, and the three E's of trauma: event, experience, and effects. Trauma informed care, you know, and positive psychology, positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and accomplishment. Oh, someone's asking, how do you develop intrinsic motivation? So I think um, for you to develop intrinsic motivation, so from Thessalonica, uh, so she was asking, she asked, how do you develop intrinsic motivation? Since yun nga yung pinaka-driving force sabi daw sa ibang studies, no? Um, well, hindi ako psychologist or ano pero I've read that when you want to develop your intrinsic motivation, syempre you have to look at you know the what drives you what's your passion, what's the meaning of everything for you. So di ba sa perma you have your meaning there, so that's what you want to concentrate muna. What wakes you up at night, no, in the morning, not night, what makes you get up during the day, what drives you to do the things that you want to do. Is it passion? Is it other people? Is it you find purpose in doing something? Then let those meaning and your why motivate you, as well as the positive relationships that you build, the community that you have, the love and engagement, and the positive emotion. So they are all connected in also helping you accomplish and having that goal, having that motivation. So yun, sana nasagot ko yung tanong mo, Ma'am Thessalonic. But that's a good question. Probably I can read more on that and um, share with you some more. Pero that's mm, my personal take on intrinsic motivations. Ayun. So yun, I hope um uh, uh may natutunan kayo doon sa shinare ko. It's a good read kasi. So I thought that since it's June and it's mental health trauma awareness month. So gusto ko lang mag-share ng something probably not, new to some, pero it was new to me, and this really uh struck me when I read it. So yes, yeah. So if you have any questions and comments about the past episodes, the future episodes, and really I'm excited to show you those episodes that were coming, especially the live. Kung if you want to join us live, meron kaming live kwentuhan about LGBTQIA concerns, um, coming from PTs in the community. So and the next ano naman is Therapeutic Alliance is more than rapport. So yun. So I'll just keep it short, 30 minutes na yata. So yeah, if you have any comments, suggestions, um, feedback about the past episodes, and if you have or know someone that you want to be guest in the podcast or topics that you want to talk about, just shoot me an email, connect with me in tawag dito in Facebook. Nasa na ba yan? Ayun. Stop sharing na tayo. Alright. So, ito yung mga ito yung mga podcast apps. So, YouTube, you can watch it. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and other podcast apps that you listen to. And connect with me in Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn if you want to reach out about any feedback or topic that you want to do. Let me do. Okay. All right. See ya. Thank you for watching. Comment na kayo ng questions and I will answer that. And comment nyo rin if you're watching, in the replay. Share this if you learned something new. All right. Bye. And have a good day and night to everyone.